Hey folks, welcome to S News. If you want to stay updated and catch all our latest reports, make sure you follow S News, alright? And don't forget to support us by sharing, liking, and dropping your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback really helps us keep going. We're all about bringing you real news, with no tolerance for distractions. Can't stand music in the background, you know? We promise to keep things straightforward and news-focused, just the way you like it. Thanks a ton for tuning in, and remember, follow S News and stick around for our next videos. We appreciate you. Breaking Gordon makes a statement. Panic in Moscow. Moscow is in chaos. Russia is rushing to send employees home. Ukrainian drones are reportedly preparing to strike. Trump is furious over a potential strike on St. Petersburg too. Zelensky has made up his mind. Preparations have started. Drones have already destroyed the inertia plant. Things are getting serious. A video of the incident has gone viral online. The Russian public is panicking as they brace for a Ukrainian drone strike on the capital. Moscow city authorities are urgently switching employees to remote work, according to Ukrainian journalist Dmytro Gordon. Based on sources from Oruzhno Media, a subsidiary of the Sina Sushchuk media group, several companies are now sending workers home, fearing a drone strike in the next 2 weeks. Gordon said the Russians are compiling lists of employees who absolutely must be physically present and have even introduced a new night shift schedule. At the same time, some businesses believe the threat isn't that serious. They've implemented restrictions allowing employees to access offices only at night, from 1 o'clock in the morning to 8 o'clock in the morning. Gordon added that these restrictions could last all summer. Hotels and food establishments are exempt, though. Some restaurants and hotels in Moscow are still open for limited hours. Meanwhile, Moscow is getting more attention after a recent conversation between the US and Ukrainian presidents, during which they hinted that Moscow, and not just Moscow, could be a valid military target. The Washington Post reported on the conversation. Trump reportedly asked Zelensky why they haven't hit Moscow yet. Zelensky replied, "We could, if you gave us the weapons." Trump said Ukraine should increase the pressure on Putin, not just. At the same time, other Russian regions are also feeling the effects of unprecedented unrest. Residents of Lipetsk, Voronezh, and Rostov have reported explosions. The Russian city of Yelets, considered strategically important for Putin, took a major hit. Drones targeted and completely destroyed the Energia factory. Locals reported windows shaking from the blasts. The sounds were heard across different parts of the city, and in some areas, windows may have even shattered. Energia isn't new to drone attacks. A swarm of drones recently hit the facility directly. The occupiers were reportedly furious. Energia is one of Russia's largest producers of chemical energy sources and mainly supplies the Russian military. After the drone strike, the governor of the Lipetsk region personally reported a fire at the Energia plant in Yelets. Russians shared shocking video footage from the first moments of the attack. Social media was flooded with images of thick black smoke and massive fires. Not a single window was left intact in the energy building. Everything, including vehicles, was burning. Local residents came to see the strike site as if it were a tourist attraction. They came, watched, and left. That's it. Ducks and geese were seen wandering nearby. A car was hit directly in the parking lot. It's burning now. Another person nearby got burned. The whole factory's gone. There's no work left. Everything's in ruins. It was extremely hot in the city of Voronezh too. The regional governor claimed there were no injuries or destruction, but footage from the city suggests there were indeed strikes. Russians are in shock. This isn't the life they imagined. Several apartments in high-rise buildings in Voronezh were damaged. Windows, facades, balconies, as well as private homes in the suburbs and one district in the region. Still, locals remained upbeat and even joked about the 2 strikes in their area. One resident said, "It hit, didn't it?" The shockwave reached us. Another added, "This was the epicenter. I was sleeping here, but I came out to check." Everything across the street was also damaged by the blast, which was strong enough to heat up the windows. It happened at 6 in the morning. The region was also attacked by drones. According to local authorities, all of them were shot down. The Russian Ministry of Defense claimed that overnight it destroyed 55 drones targeting the Belgorod, Voronezh, Lipetsk, and Rostov regions. Russia continues to suffer from a major breach in its air defenses. Fires are everywhere. Panic is spreading among the Russian population. Russians, listen up. Massive strikes hit key Putin factories. You won't believe how far the drones have reached. The Russian Federation is surrounded. The following report covers what feels like a real doomsday scenario inside enemy territory. Folks, take a look. These rooftops are barely holding up. Russia was hit by a storm of attacks this week. In 11 regions, factories and power stations exploded, airports were shut down, and warehouses caught fire. And they can't seem to put them out. In Penza, the local combined heat and power plant is burning. In Tula, home to about a dozen military facilities, drones are still flying overhead. Why aren't they being shot down? Stay away from the windows. Targets included the Tula cartridge works and weapons factories. Besides regular bullets and ammo, they also make guided missiles. Huge numbers of drones are heading straight for the city. Another target was a shipment for a design bureau that makes missile and anti-aircraft systems. It's quiet, until it's not. Oh my God, look, it's a drone. In Orenburg region in the city of Orsk, the mechanical plant is on fire. They produce shell casings and parts for multiple rocket launcher systems. The workshops are burning. It's over. This week, a large swarm of drones even reached the Lukovitsi aircraft plant near Moscow. This place is like a sacred cow for Russia's military-industrial complex. It's where MiG-29 and MiG-31 fighter jets are assembled and repaired. They've got their own runway, pilots, and unique equipment. The Shahed drones are also upgraded there. It's all happening at this plant. You can hear the gunfire. They're trying to shoot drones down with machine guns. Even Moscow wasn't spared this week. The mayor happily reported that all drones were shot down, but even the smallest ones got the job done. Just last week, Russia's biggest airports, Pulkovo in St. Petersburg and all of Vnukovo's airports near Moscow, went into full lockdown. No planes in, no planes out. It's true. Travelers witnessed the start of a complete breakdown. By the second day, the mood at the airports had completely changed. People were no longer cheerful while waiting for their flights. They were angry. Everything had been canceled. Things got tense. Fights broke out. Just look at these people brawling in the terminals. In the past, Russian authorities took risks, letting passenger planes land while air defenses were still active. But after an Azerbaijani passenger jet was reportedly shot down over Grozny, they stopped doing that. Now passengers are stuck waiting endlessly. There are unconfirmed reports that a flight from Minsk was fired on by Moscow's air defense, but the pilots managed to land safely. Air defense is firing at us, one report said. I repeat, they're firing at a civilian plane. The full extent of damage to Russia's aviation industry this week is still being calculated, but the first 2 days were already a disaster. From July 5th to July 7th, nearly 2,000 flights were seriously delayed or canceled. Another 485 flights were rerouted to other airports, affecting around 100 planes. Major airports in St. Petersburg, Moscow, and Nizhny Novgorod took huge financial hits. According to a top aviation expert, the losses totaled 15 billion rubles, about $150 million, in just 2 days. Airlines themselves suffered major losses, too. Millions of dollars due to airport fees, refueling, passenger handling, parking, and more. Bottom line, airlines are running at a loss. Ticket prices are climbing fast. The industry will now likely beg the government for subsidies. That means, well, less money for the military and defense. But this isn't just about money anymore. For the first time, the war has reached ordinary Russians, not as some distant special military operation, but right to their doorstep. Maybe, lying on the floor of an airport, they're finally asking why they're there instead of on a vacation flight. This week, the internet went down in several Russian regions. Authorities claimed it was to block Ukrainian drone operations, but it also caused huge losses for businesses and growing frustration among citizens. People couldn't buy tickets, order food delivery, or even read the news. Payment machines didn't work either. Just another reminder. The war is now very real for every Russian. This week, they finally learned the truth about their battlefield losses, not from Ukrainian media, but from one of their own, the leader of the so-called Novorossiya movement and known traitor, Pavel Gubarev. He admitted, sarcastically, that in 3.5 years of war, they've captured almost nothing. I believe, he said, we've lost over 1 million people, dead, missing, maimed, or died in hospitals. Russians also learned that it's not just ordinary soldiers dying. It's generals, too, and heroes of Russia. Just this week, the army quietly acknowledged the deaths of Colonel Sergei Ilyin, a decorated hero of Russia, and General Mikhail Gudov, one of Putin's top men. Ilyin led the 155th Naval Brigade, the same unit responsible for killing civilians and executing POWs in Bakhmut. And it doesn't stop with generals. Even government ministers are dying. Roman Starovoyt, a former Kursk governor and transport minister, was found dead this week, either inside or near his luxury Tesla, possibly in the bushes. He'd been beaten before being shot. You can walk right up to the place where he died. At this point, where and how he died doesn't even matter anymore. Russians are realizing that in Putin's Russia, nobody is safe. Not generals, not governors, not ministers. So what hope is there for ordinary people? Roman Starovoyt had millions. He had access to every kind of transport, planes, trains, ships, but he ended up dead in a bush, just 22 kilometers from the center of Moscow. Russia is burning. Fires are now constant across isolated regions. They don't stop day or night. Explosions are non-stop, and more are surely coming. Finally, folks, thanks for listening and sticking with us. Don't forget to follow S News and check out the next videos.